Shalom, shalom, Israel. Barakatha and Yahawadah. Right, so let me just open up first, and then I'm going to get into a very, very small lesson. Right, so let me open up first. Kalala Yahweh, Ba'asham, Hamashiach Yahushai. Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahushai, and Yahawadah Yahweh, and Yahawadah Yahushai. Kal Halalium, wa Palalium, wa Kabadium. Yahweh, Alashadium, Amalak, Agadal, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Wa Kadash. So I like to read this out in Paleo Hebrew, which is just a greeting to Yasha'Allah. I read it out earlier today, so I'm going to read it out again. Nafang Mashana Kabadium La Makawa Habakaya Laha Zakwanium Laha Akiam Wa Akwa Baha Amav Wahabani Shal Yasha'Allah Shalawam Wahab Barakatham. And that reads, double honors to the elders, to the hopeful elect, to the brothers and to the sisters in the truth, and the children of Israel. Peace and love. Bless you all. So the reason why I'm doing this very, very short lesson today is because during today's lesson, I mentioned that the Simeonites were part of the southern kingdom. So that's a bit contrary or contradictory, because most people, myself included, teach that the southern kingdom is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which is correct. However, based on just basically reading the scriptures and doing some research, I realized that Simeon was also located within the southern kingdom. So I'm just going to do a very, very quick lesson to confirm that, because I mentioned it. I said I'm going to bring it out, but I didn't get an opportunity to bring it out, so I'm quickly going to bring it out. So first off, I'm going to jump to Genesis chapter 49, verses 5 to 7. Let me quickly get that. Actually, I have it marked. So you can get that just now. Yeah. So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verses 5 to 7, and it reads, Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation. Right? This is one of the scriptures we use to confirm that Haiti, or the Dominican Republic, is Levi and Simeon, because they're brothers and they're also instruments of cruelty on the island. Verse 6. Let me read it again. Genesis 49, 5 to 7. Verse 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. Verse 6. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor, be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. Verse 7. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. Listen to this. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Right? So that's one precept that shows that Levi and Simeon are located near together but divided. They're not unified. So when you go on the island of Hispaniola or the Dominican Republic / Haiti, it's actually one island, but it's divided. Yeah. And then the next precept. So this is actually the precept now that's gonna fully clarify the point that I made, the statement that I made in camp earlier on. Right. So this is let me get it. Right. So this is the book of Joshua. So obviously Joshua, or Yahawadah, his name was Hawashai, and Moses named him Yahawadah, which means he saves. Right. He actually was the prophet that led the children of Israel into the land of Canaan. So Moses brought them to the Jordan River, and he saw it. I think he went up to Mount Nebo or Mount Ibar, and he saw it. But the Most High translated him and lifted him up. He never got to enter into the promised land because he broke the tablets of stone. He broke the Ten Commandments, and he had to go out and get another one. So that was his punishment for doing that. He saw it, but he wasn't permitted to go into it. So Yahawadah, otherwise known as Joshua, was the one that led them into the promised land. So then he was the one with the younger members of the children of Israel that conquered Canaan and conquered all of the different nations, and then had to divide up the territories amongst the tribes. So that's the context. So let me get back into it. So this is a book of Joshua, chapter. What am I looking for this now? Yeah. So it's a book of Joshua, chapter 19, starting at verse 9. Actually, let me read a chapter. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but I'm going to read from 1 going down, so you're going to see the context and everything. And I'm going to finish at verse 22. So chapter 19, 1 to verse 22. And it reads, and the second lot, so now they're dividing the land or the territories by lot, meaning you cast a lot, and based on how the lot falls, which according to let me bring this out. So this is going to tie into this as well, because this is a precept that I bring out a lot now, and it ties into this. So this is Proverbs 16 and verse 23, right? The lot is cast into the lap, but the whole disposing thereof is of the Lord. Meaning, when you sow the lot, the Most High is the one that determines how it falls and who gets what. Yeah, so that's what that means. So let me go again. This is Joshua chapter 19, verse 1. And the second lot came forth to Simeon, even for the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families. And their inheritance, listen to this, was within the inheritance of the children of Judah. So we already know that the inheritance of the children of Judah was located in the southern kingdom. But let's continue to read. Verse 2. And they had in their inheritance Beersheba, or Sheba, which means the well of oak, or the oak. Beer means well, and Shaba or Sheba means oak, or Sheba, and Molada, and Hazar Shawa'al, and Bala, and Azem, and El Tolad, and Bethuel, and Hormah, and Ziklag. I don't know, I like that name for some reason. And Ziklag, and Bath Markaboth, and Hazar Susa, and Bath Labaoth, and Sharuhan, 13 cities and their villages. Verse 7. Ayin, Ramon, Atha, and Ashan, 4 cities and their villages. So Ashan is a name that's well associated with Judah. So Ashanti would be a derivative of this word Ashan. 4 cities and their villages. Verse 8. And all the villages that were round about these cities, to Baal-Ab, Ba or Beer, Ramah of the south, southern kingdom of the south. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families. So actually, the key is in Bathsheba, because Bathsheba is the most southerly landmark of the nation of Israel. So I think it's from Samaria to Bathsheba. I'm trying to remember the northern landmark. It will come to me, but I know the southernmost landmark is Bathsheba. So according to this, Bathsheba is located within Simeon's territory. But let's continue. Out of the portion, verse 9, out of the portion of the children of Judah was the inheritance of the children of Simeon. So what that's saying is, the Simeonites are actually, how to put it, they're located within Judah, which we know Judah is synonymous with the southern kingdom. So that's confirming that. Was the inheritance of the children of Simeon. For the part of the children of Judah was too much for them. Therefore, the children of Simeon have their inheritance within the inheritance of them. Verse 10. And the third lot came up for the children of Zabalawan. So this is not necessary for the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that Simeon, Samayawan, is located amongst the southern kingdom. So let me see if there's anything else here that's referring to that. No. Right. So basically, let me read it over again, because this will be the lot of it. This will be the end of this portion here. So this is the book of Joshua. Book of Joshua, chapter 18, and verse 9 again, just to confirm the point. Out of the portion of the children of Judah, Yahawadah, was the inheritance of the children of Simeon, Bani Shal, Shemayawan. For the part of the children of Judah, Yahawadah was too much for them. It was too big for them, too much for them. Therefore, the children of Simeon, Bani Shal, Shemayawan, had their inheritance within the inheritance of them. Right? So this is clearly written in the scriptures, but I'm going to do an extra bit just to further confirm it, because what I noticed, we're dealing with Yasha Allah, and I'm not talking about Yasha Allah out of the truth, I'm talking about Yasha Allah in the truth, is that you really have to establish a point. You can't just pull out a precept or precepts. You really have to establish a point in order to illustrate a truth coming from the scriptures. Yeah, it sounds funny, but it's actually correct. You really have to emphatically prove a point. So I am going to now emphatically prove the point. Right. So let me find it, because the funny thing about the KJV Bible, right, is not only is it, in my opinion, the best rendering of the ancient scripts, and I'm not saying that there's no errors in it, it clearly is, but still it's the best rendering. But not only that, the other key feature is that the biblical maps in it validate a lot of points. One being, let me show you, right? So, where's my finger? Is that not Simeon there? Is that not Shemaiah one there? Is that not Bathsheba here? That's the southernmost region of Israel, right? Is not Simeon located in the southern kingdom? Right? Look at there. I'm not making it up. Right? So it's in reverse, so I can't read. I have to turn it to read. So let me just turn it to read it. So this is a map of the southern kingdom. So I'm going to show you something here which makes perfect sense. So this here is it Manasseh, I think? Yeah, it's Manasseh, because Manasseh was divided. So you've got Manasseh here, which is what I stated earlier as well, where you've got the Cubans in America and then you've got the Cubans in Cuba. So let's say this would be the Cubans in America, right? This would be the Cubans in Cuba. But look where Benjamin is. next to Manasseh, right? And actually, Jamaica is not the closest island to Cuba, but it's very close to Cuba, right? So look where it's located, and you know why it's located there? And this is something that we don't bring out a lot as well. People in the truth know this clearly, but we don't bring it out a lot. But Benjamin is actually closer related to the Puerto Ricans, the Ephraimites, and the Manasseites. Why? Because when Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, with the exception of Reuben, but the other brothers, all of them, which would be 11 brothers, and he ended up in Pharaoh's captivity, and then eventually, through the spirit and power of Yahawadah Shem Yahushai, he became the second in command in Egypt, right? So he would be the second most powerful man in Egypt at the time of the famine, right? Which is what happened. The father was told by the brothers, because Raban wasn't there, he went off, he wasn't there, so the brothers, when they had him in the pit and then the Ishmaelites took him out and whatever, we know the story, but they went to the father with the garments ripped and bloodied up and told the father that Yahusha was dead. So then what happened is he had another son called Benjamin, right? And when his wife had Benjamin, she died. So she called him son of my sorrow, which is Awan. Yeah. Bani Awan, which means son of my sorrow, son of my affliction. And then the father changed it from Bani Awan to Bani Yan, which means or Ban Yan, which means son of my right hand or son of my strength. Why? Because his first son, as far as he was concerned, was dead. So the same way he cherished Joseph is the same way he cherished Benjamin. So if you notice, when he sent the sons to seek help from Pharaoh, he never sent Benjamin. He kept him close to his heart because he was scared the same thing that happened to Joseph would happen to him. But I'm saying all of that to say this, that Benjamin was actually closer related to Manasseh and Ephraim than he was to Judah. But today, I brought out today why Benjamin and Judah became so close, because when the Benjamites, or not the big band of them, but a portion of them, I think 3 or 4,000 of them, decided to support David, right? And then on top of that, Nathan, who was one of Saul's sons, was like David's bona fide. So they were so close that it was almost like, it happens sometimes. You have a friend that's so close that if a person sees him, right, they say, yeah, where's your guy? I never see you on your own. You're always with your guy, and you're always doubled up, right? So sometimes you have friendships like that. So as a result of that, Benjamin actually cleaved more to Judah than to actually who their blood, not blood, they're all blood, but their closer relatives, which would be Manasseh, and Ephraim, right? But if you look at the lot where, let me show you again. So if you look at the lot where Benjamin is located, it's actually located, if you look at it, it's actually within Ephraim. With, is that Ephraim or Manasseh? Let me see again. Oh, Salak is Ephraim, yeah? So it's actually within Ephraim, look, it's there, right? But it borders Judah, right? So if you look, Judah, this is Judah here, and Simeon is within Judah. I think Beersheba is there. So now you're going to say, okay, so we can see here Benjamin, Judah, and Simeon. Where's the Levites? Well, actually, the Levites did not get a land inheritance. That's the reason why you have to pay tithes to them. And that's the reason why you have to, by commandment, offer up your sacrifices to the Levites. So the Levites would get certain cuts of the meat, right? And they would get the sacrifices also as a tithe, right? So in other words, the Levites were the Lord's portion, and the tithes that you paid them, that's their inheritance. So they didn't have a land inheritance. What they did have is a thing called suburbs. So there was areas within all of the tribes where the Levites had their little suburbs, which would be within the territories or within the lot of the other tribes. And the other tribes were supposed to support them. But what happened was, with the rift or the shift between Rehoboam and Jeroboam, the northern kingdoms, they split and they started to bug out and do some mad bug out stuff, and they started to follow Baal and Molech and Astaroth and all of that. So as a result of that, the majority, I can't say all, I don't know that for a fact, but what I can say is that the vast majority of the Levites left those areas and concentrated themselves within the southern border as well. So as a result of that, you ended up having the majority of the Levites, I would say through the Spirit, all of them, because I can't see a Levite remaining amongst that environment. But then again, I'm speaking as a man. But I know for a fact that the majority of the Levites moved into the southern kingdom. The Benjamites already had they were placed near enough in the southern kingdom, but also because of the decision they made, right? They sort of, it was almost like they're knit to Judah, so they're part of Judah. Because what happened is when Solomon went off, and then as a result of Solomon going off, his throne was separated. They didn't totally take it because the Most High made a covenant that Judah's always going to have a ruler. So he wasn't totally disinherited. But what happened was he was separated, and then the Most High didn't want him to be like a tribe on his one. So as a result of him being knit to Benjamin, Benjamin always sided with Judah, even against his own uncle. Because Manasseh and Ephraim is basically his uncle, right? But he always sided with Judah. But what doesn't come out often enough is that Simeon was there as well, right? And why does it make sense that Simeon was there? Because according to the scripture that I brought up before, Simeon can always be located by the Levites. So wherever you see in Levites, you're going to see Simeonites. You're going to see them. Why? Because that's prophecy and that's just how they roll. But when you see them, they may appear like Levites because they have some of the gifts of the Levites as well. But they're always in animosity. So they will always be like rival clans, and it's a weird relationship. Because if you look at Haiti and the Dominican Republic, it's a very weird relationship. They're almost like enemies, but they're near enough the same people. They don't look it, but they are. But the way they treat each other is very fierce, which is according to the prophecy as well, because it says their anger shall be fierce, and their anger actually is fierce. So yeah, so I just brought all of that out. So let me just show you the map again. Right, so you can clearly see where Simeon is located. I mean, look, it's clear, right? Why we don't bring it out or why people don't mention it, I couldn't tell you. I don't know why, right? But the same way you can locate Haiti or the Dominican Republic or Hispaniola as the island where Haiti and Simeon are. Why? Because you have an island split in half with two separate peoples living on the same island. Right? The same way here, the only reason why Levi is not listed out on this map is because Levi doesn't have a land allotment. It wasn't allocated the land. The only reason why they're all here is because when all the rest of the northern tribes had to bug out, all the Levites left and they came here. But the Levites are here as well. If anything, the Levites might actually be principally located where the Simeonites are as well, or bordering them as well. Why? Because they always cleave amongst each other. The same way the Benjamites, and the Judites always cleave together. So when you go I've lived in America for a bit. When you go to the areas where the Judites are, you find Benjamites there. Now, don't get me wrong. You're going to find Puerto Ricans, you're going to find Cubans, you're going to find all of them close by, but there's a division. But the Jamaicans and the Judites, they're not divided. The accent or whatever, yeah, but they're not divided. They're rolling together, they're hanging together, they're living together, they're cleaving amongst each other. Right? So yeah, so that's the point of the whole lesson. The whole lesson was just to tie up a statement that I made, because I don't like to say things, especially when I'm live on air or I'm teaching, right? Because everything you say will be accounted for. So I don't like to say things and not validate it. If I say something and I didn't back it up or I didn't validate it, I guarantee you I'm going to come back and do that. If I make an error, I'm not going to make an error and then say, okay, I made an error. I will declare it. I would say, look, Salakia Israel, I said this or I did this. Salakia did it, and then I'll try and do better. Because that's the only way we're gonna get better. That's the only way we're gonna, as the lesson was today, the only way we're gonna become that perfect man or the perfect man is not to never make a mistake, but to make a mistake, repent from the mistake, correct it, and don't do it again. So on that note, so I've proven the point that I wanted to prove. Didn't get a chance to do it today in my lesson, and I don't want to do it because when I correct on somebody else's lesson, what I'm actually doing is taking away the time that the other brother needs to present his lesson. So the same way I may not appreciate somebody not so much interrupting me, because we're actually there to teach and to spread the word. But if I'm in a lesson and somebody's a bugger, or they have a spirit on them, or they're not even one of our nation and they just come to scoff and to score, it riles me up, right? So then I can't be a hypocrite. The things that I don't like or the things that rile me up, I can't then do it to somebody else. That's actually the reason why I started teaching lessons, to be quite honest. Because the first lesson I think I did at home, it was prompted by the lesson I did on the Issacharites, the Tola, and then I thought I would be able to do it in 15 minutes, and I near enough took up an hour to do it, right? So then I realized, and my Aki Ashala also had a conversation with me and said, you know what, it's best you do lessons at home, because you're doing that, you're eating up the brotherhood's time. It's not about you, which is correct, it's not about me, it's about the brotherhood, is about the word. So I took what he said on board, and that's when I started to do lessons. So the same way, if I can, I mean, if it's a small thing, I could just slip it in. But if it's like something used to be like 20, 30 minutes like this is, best I do it at home. So on that note, I want to give all praises and honor, or as I always say in the paleo, Kal Halalium, wa Palalium, wa Kabadium, Yahawa, wa Hashem Yahweh, wa Haraka Kadash. An Yahavata Yahawa, An Yahavata Yahweh, Barakata Yahawa, Barakata Yahweh. And with that, I say Shalom Israel, and until the next time again.
Then all Israel gathered themselves to David unto Hebron, saying, behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh.
Right. Jump to the next one straight away.
This is 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 1.
So the reason for this is, I'm showing you now that near enough the whole of Israel was counted up righteous. Counted as righteous. Go on.
1 Chronicles 12 and 1. Now these are they that came to David of Ziklag,
Right.
while he yet kept himself close, because of Saul, the son of Kish.
Right.
And they were among the mighty men, helpers of war.
Right. Just bring it up, bring it up, bring it up.
It says they were armed with bows and could use both right hand and the left hand in hurling stones.
That's right.
And shooting arrows out of a bow,
Right.
even of Saul's brethren of Benjamin.
Right. So that's showing you that a lot of the people that are identified in America as being Benjamin are because you find a lot of left-handers amongst the people that are listed as Benjamites. You see them playing cricket and so on. Left-handers. Go on.
It says, the chief of Ahijah, then Joash, the son of
Shammai, which is the name of Jamaica, by the way. Shammai Ka, go on.
The Gilbathite, and Jiziel, and Pelet, and the sons of Asmaveth, and Barakah, and Jehu, the Atonite, and Asmaiah, the Gibeonite,
bring them out.
a mighty man among 30 and over 30, and Jeremiah, and Jaziel, and Johanan, and Josaphat.
That would be Yahawadah, Yahweh's grace. Go on.
The Gederethite, Eluzai, and Jerimoth, and Biliah, and Shemariah.
Go on. Yeah, he's all good. He's a paleo guy, so you got it. Yeah, go on.
And Shaphatiah, the Haraphite, the Herifite, Elkanah, and Josiah, and Azriel, and Jose, and Jashabi, and Korah.
All of these are righteous men, by the way. Come on, bring them up.
And Jolah, and Zebadiah, the sons of Jehoram, and Gidor.
That's Yahweh's exalted, by the way.
And of the Gadites,
were
separated themselves unto David into the whole of the wilderness.
That's right.
Men of might, and men of war, fit for the battle.
That's the truth, God, the truth. Go on.
That whose faces were like the faces of
lions. That's right.
And were as swift as the roes upon the mountains. Hezer the first of
oh yeah, they did.
Obadiah, the second, Elab the third, Mishmana the fourth, Jeremiah the fifth, Attai the sixth, Eliel the seventh, and Johanan the eighth,
Yahweh's grace.
Elizabeth the ninth, Jeremiah the tenth,
my father's oath. Go on.
Bahanai the 11th. These were the sons of Gad, captains of the host. One of the least was over 100. And the greatest was over 1,000.
That's right. Come on.
These are they that went over to Jordan in the first month, when it had overflowed all his banks, and they had put to flight all them in the valleys, both toward the east and towards the west. And there came of the children of Benjamin and Judah to the hope of David. And David went out to meet them, and answered and said unto them, if ye be come peaceably unto me to help me, mine heart shall be knit unto you.
Right, so why did he ask that? Because the Benjamites, their brother was the king at that time. That was Saul. And David now was not overthrowing it, because the Spirit was placed on David. But Saul was trying to destroy David. And then the whole of Israel said, nah, we're linking up with David. So now when he bucked up the Benjamites now, he said, where you on? Where their part? Right, so read it out. Bring it out.
So then David went to meet them and answered and said unto them,
we're on, fam. Go on.
If you be come peaceably unto me to help me, mine heart shall be knit unto you.
Knit, that means they're joined. And that's why wherever you see Judah, you see Benjamin. Wherever it's Benjamin's hiding under the shoulders of Judah. They're knit. Go on now.
Surely those men were of the elect in the house of David, right?
And that they were righteous. Go on.
God says, be knit unto you, but if ye be come to betray me to mine enemies, seeing there is no wrong in mine hands, and the Most High of our fathers look thereon and rebuke it, then the Spirit came upon Amasai, who was chief of the captains, and he said, Thine are we.
Amasai would be my taskmaster, or my taskmaster, or my taskmaster.
And he said, Thine are we, David, and on thy side, thou son of Jesse, peace be unto thee, and peace be to thine helpers, for thy power helpeth thee.
So basically they were asked to pick a team, and they picked team Yahawadah. Go on now.
Then David received them and made them captains of the band.
So they were righteous and they were perfect men and captains of the band. Is that all?
20.
Yeah, you got it.
And he went to Ziklag
Yeah.
there fell to him
He went to Ziklag, fam.
of Manasseh,
Yeah.
Adnah,
Yeah.
and Jozabad,
Yeah.
and Jediel,
So this is Manasseh now. So in the west of America, yeah, the west of America, that would be like Cuba, that area there. Go on.
and Michael, and Jozabad, and Elihu, and Zilthai,
Yeah.
captain of the thousands that were of Manasseh.
That's right, Shalom.
And they helped David against the band of the rovers, for they were all mighty men of valor,
All of them.
And
That's
they
the
were-
point. Go on.
and they were captains in the host.
And the army. Yeah. Sorry?
No, carry on.
Yeah.
For all that day by day they came to David to help him until it was a great host,
A great host. Go on.
like the host of the Most High.
You see it there? Because we are the host of the Most High when we're in our right mind. Go on now.
And these are the numbers of the bands that were ready armed to the war and came to David to Hebron to turn the kingdom of Saul to him according to the word of the Lord Yahweh. The children of Judah that bear shield and spear was 6,800 ready armed to the war. And of the children of Simeon, mighty men of valor,
Simeonites, right?
for the war 7,100.
Right, so that's also, listen now, in a sense, the southern kingdom as well. I'll explain why in a minute. Go on.
And of the children of Levi 4,600.
Right, so we know the southern kingdom is Levi, Benjamin, and Judah. Go on.
And
But it's listed Simeon as well. Go on.
And Jehoiada was the leader of the Aaronites, and with him were
That's the Levites as well. Go on.
and with him were 3,700.
Right.
And Zadok, young man mighty in valor.
That would be, what is righteous again? Tazadak. That's Tazadak. That would be Tazadak, which is righteous again. Go on.
And of his father's house 20 and 2 captains.
Right.
And of the children of Benjamin,
Right, see it there? So that's the southern kingdom. Go on, read it.
the kindred of Saul,
Right.
3,000.
So of Saul's own kindred, there were men that linked up with David and fought with him against their own brethren. Go on.
For hitherto, the greatest part of them that kept the ward of the house of Saul. And the children of Ephraim, 20,800, mighty men of valor,
So
famous,
that's the Puerto Ricans now. Go on.
famous throughout the house of their fathers, and the half tribe of Manasseh.
Right, why half? Because it was such a big band, and Manasseh was the head, the eldest son of Joseph. So, of Joseph. So his brother got the blessing, even though he was a younger brother. But according to our tradition, the firstborn gets a double portion. So that's why the tribe was split into two. Go on.
It says, and of the first tribe of Manasseh, 8,000, which were expressed by name,
Yep.
to come and make King David king.
Yep.
And the children of Issachar,
Right.
which were men that had,
So that's the Mexicans now. Right.
that had understanding of the times,
So bearing in mind, in the west coast of Africa and dispersed, all these people are there as well. But I'm just listening out what we know from the American side. Go on now.
to know what Israel ought to do.
Right.
The heads of them were 200, and all their brethren as their commanders.
All their brethren, are you hearing this? Go on.
Of Zebulun, which
The
was
Bala ones. So that's from Panama to where is it?
Argentina.
No. So from Guatemala to Panama. Yeah, go on.
Of Zebulun, such as went forth to battle, expert in war,
Expert, go on.
with all instruments of war,
Yeah.
50,000, which
50,000, go on.
could keep rank. They were not of double heart, and of Naphtali 1,000 captains,
Right.
and with them,
So Naphtali would be from Chile to Argentina. Go on.
and with them shield and spear,
Yeah.
30 and 7,000,
Yep.
and of the Danites,
Right. So Dan is minimal now in the tribe, so they disperse among all the tribes. But here they had a substantial number here. Go on.
and of the Danites experts in war 20 and 8,600,
That's right.
and of Asher,
Asha, so that would be from Colombia to Brazil. And I believe a bit of Trinidad as well, because Trinidad actually is a part of Venezuela that was broke off. So you've got Asherites and you've got Benjamites in Trinidad. Go on now.
and of Asher such as went forth to battle, expert in war, 40,000. And on the other side of Jordan, of the Reubenites,
So listen to this now. The other side of Jordan, the other side of the Americas, go on,
of the Reubenites, and
which
of
would be the Seminole Indians,
and of
go
the
on,
Gadites,
which would be the North American Indians,
and
go on.
of the half tribe of Manasseh.
Right, so the half tribe, why? And it's funny because a lot of Cubans are actually in America. So you've got Cubans in Cuba, but I believe, I could be right, could be wrong, but I could be right, that there's a substantial number of Cubans in America as well. Go on, huh?
Especially in New York.
Yes, bring it out.
It says, with all manner of instruments of war for the battle, and 120,000. It says, all these men of war,
So all that we came to is to get to this point. Go on, bring it out.
all these men of war that could keep rank, came with a perfect heart to Hebron to make David king over all Israel.
So which means the entire list of names and the numbers, 100,000, 20,000 of men were all perfect. Not that they were sinless, but they were perfect because they were in one heart and they had the faith and they were keeping the commandments and they were counted as perfect. Why not? Yeah, sure. Yeah, man.
All these men of war that could keep rank came with a perfect heart to Hebron to make David king over all Israel, and all the rest also of Israel were of one heart to make David king.
And the funny thing about this is this Yahawadah, right? Because David, in this sense, represents Yahawashi in a sense, right?